Hi Cancer, this is Leah Fresh Astrology. How are you doing? And Happy New Year. Welcome to 2019. We're going to take kind of an overview approach. Anybody who's watched me knows I don't particularly think it's useful to me, at least to me, to go into massive detail. I certainly do. In astrology, there are endless amounts of detail, endless rabbit holes you could go down. It's an onion you could just keep peeling until you die. So astrology certainly can be done that way. I find in terms of making it practical for daily living and how to use it, it's less maddening to kind of approach it the way the Chinese approach each year, where they just assign it like an animal symbol. 2019 is going to be the year of the pig, and you just think of the pig and everything the pig means. That's an easier way to think of a year as a whole. And so I was trying to think, what's the pig astrologically? And I think the pig is Uranus. We'll also talk about Jupiter, but Uranus is the pig. And it's actually going to govern more than just this year, but certainly the year that a planet, especially a slower moving planet that's further away from the sun, the year that it goes into a sign. It actually officially went into Taurus last year, or this year, 2018. I'm recording this in 2018. But it backtracked and went back into Aries, and will go forward again, or has gone forward again, and will go into Taurus for good. Well, at least for the next 7 years. And so when a planet is in those early degrees of a sign, something as heavy hitting as Uranus, that's when the most change happens, and change is the operative word here. So whereas a pig has certain characteristics, and for the Chinese people, Uranus has certain characteristics, and so change is one of the main characteristics of the planet Uranus, and so that will be a large feature for everyone. And for Cancer, that element of change is really happening on the doorway, kind of the cusp area between your career and your future. So the changes you're making in your career, and maybe some career changes, will really push you forward in a new way towards your future, and your future will start to look very, very different. So whatever you thought your future was going to be, however you envisioned it, if you envisioned it at all, and you probably did sometimes, have visions of what your future might be like, it's really going to radically change. And so by the end of 7 years, where you thought you were going is not where you end up. And that's not a bad thing. This is Uranus coming into really, for some reason, it was important for you to change your future itself. The trajectory of your life has needed to change. And a lot of you know this, if you've had any, I don't know, maybe relationship issues, or maybe work issues. Maybe work, it's just like, what, this just isn't working for me, whatever I'm doing. It doesn't mean you change careers totally. You don't have to do an entirely new kind of thing, but something's got to change dramatically. It may involve more travel, or maybe less travel. Maybe the travel's not working for you. But again, all I can say is, in terms of talking to every single Cancer out there, is whatever you think your future is going to be now, like if you had to think out 5, 10 years, 20 years, it's just going to look radically different at the end of 7 years. And the way you look at your future over this next 7 years is going to just keep changing and changing and changing, because it needs to. That the idea is somehow it needs to, and that whenever the chart changes and stuff in our life changes, it means you've got to change. It means we have to change. All of us have to change because of Uranus. It's going to bring about change, because change is a part of life, and it needs to happen wherever it is in the chart. So for you, one of the results of the next 7 years, starting now, but you'll feel it increasingly like from March onward, is that your friendship circles and who you associate with will change dramatically. So you'll be rubbing elbows with new groups, new kinds of people, and so your social networks will change a lot. Some of you may be meeting people online. The first thing the thing that springs to mind is like in love, and that could be the case because you have a lot of activity in your relationship department. But this is also friendships. So through the world of technology, whether that means that's your business or just using computers and the internet, through the world of technology somehow, and engineering and electronics, or energy sources, you will be transforming probably how you work, where you work, what you do for work, and who you hang out with a great deal. And I would expect some key relationship changes and movement in your world. So that's a broad statement. So of course you can imagine, if you're changing your relationships, that can mean any number of things. Like if you're married, you may need to work on your marriage and focus on it more increasingly through the year, or work more as a team, because whenever you're considering what your future is going to be, every couple knows this, whenever you're talking future plans, you've got to work more as a team, right? Or hopefully. And that's what is required. And then sometimes what you discover in a relationship, whether it's a business relationship or a romantic relationship or even a friendship, when you start discussing the future, not everybody's on the same page. So there may be some of this, like not everybody's on the same page. So again, these could be friends, people you work with, and love relationships. You may find that there's this theme of not everybody's on the same page. And that doesn't mean permanently. Sometimes you can negotiate and talk to and have dialogue. And it looks like that there's going to be a lot of dialogue, maybe in different kinds of relationships this year, to figure out how to move forward. And so sometimes even if you aren't on the same page, you come to a compromise, or maybe you convince somebody and you end up on the same page. But there's a lot of this idea of negotiating and working on your people skills. So I think Cancers, it's not that you don't have people skills, but it's just a time when you further work on and hone and sharpen and change. There is some changing how you deal and cope with negotiation and compromise. But I think for those of you who are single, this is a time, a once in 12-year time over this year when Jupiter comes across the descendant line into the 7th house. And I do think for the single Cancer, there's opportunity here to improve your love life, at least maybe expand your choices, maybe you meet somebody, maybe you meet more than one somebody. But this is a great time to go after love if you want more love in your life. This is a key year for you. It's a once in a 12-year opportunity to pursue love and to improve your love life. So that's exciting. Let's see what else we want to say. Oh, I forgot to say earlier. If you want to ask me questions, you can go to my Facebook page, which is also Fresh Astrology. You can email me at freshastrology@gmx.com. You can order a reading or a life coach session at www.freshastrology.com. I'll put the links below. And I do have a class starting in January that runs for 5 weeks. And this class, the others filled up, so the one that's left is a class where I teach you how to use my coaching approach to do predictive readings. So particularly astrology. That's what I do. But even if you're a tarot reader or do some other kind of psychic reading, if you want to broaden your skill set and get a stronger foundation in how to work with people more from a coaching style, so that you're really working with your client, not just talking at them, this is a great course for you. And it's going to be a lot of fun. There'll be tons of time for practice, supervised practice. And for those who want to do so, I will open up some opportunities to practice through my channels. So you can practice more publicly if you choose. You don't have to, but you'll get, certainly if you get one thing, you'll get a lot of practice, and it's a lot of fun. So you can find that course on my website. And for women over 40 who have a business or want to start a business and want support, you can go to the Tribe link below and join Tribe. All right, so that's pretty much it. I would say there's a lot of energy around maybe changing your business world, maybe travel, but I think there's a big change in your life that could involve relationships and work associations. Over the course of this time frame, you will notice that your whole vision of your future changes, and just kind of, it's kind of, if you think of a cloudy day and no sun, and then suddenly there's a break in the clouds and the sun shines through, and that's always a gorgeous moment where the world just opens up and looks brand new. And that's the equivalent of what's happening in your life. So if there's any kind of struggle or you're worried about it, I think it's going to be refreshing. But there's a lot of change through your career zone and marriage zone, which will impact your friendships, relationships, your daily schedule, and how you see your future. That's kind of encapsulates it. And I do have a series on the North Node for each sign. You can go listen there. That's another big thing that's happening this year too. All right, guys, that's it. Take care and Happy New Year.